of Women's Equality Network, and thank Elect Her for organising this event. And great to hear from Ellen Jones, Llywydd. She gave us access to this chamber. It's good having a woman in charge, isn't it, at that level? But also delighted that the Welsh Government was able to support the event and the day as well. So it is a priority for me, for Welsh Government, and for me personally, to ensure diversity of representation in all aspects of public life. We're here today to look to how the Senedd could look in the future. Wouldn't it be wonderful it looked like this? But, you know, we also need to think of all aspects of public and life and business and third sector. We need more women in it to be represented everywhere. But today we're looking at Elect Her, we're looking at the Senedd, we're looking at how we are making progress, but not enough. We're not yet truly reflective of our gender balance that we did get in 2003, and our diverse communities in Wales are not represented here sufficiently. And as Ellen said, we want the Senedd to be more equal, more diverse and more inclusive. But at every level, we must represent the diverse range of people and communities of Wales that we're here to serve. And those who put themselves forward to be elected, and, you know, we hope there's lots here today, they must feel and know that they will have a positive experience here, a real opportunity to shape our services and communities, because that's why we women go into politics, isn't it? We want to make change, we want to influence, we want to use our powers to actually influence the present and future of Wales. But we need you to feel that you will be able to do that when you get here. Now, there's some really important factors and routes to this. I want to thank the Equal Power, Equal Voice Mentoring Programme, the coalition of partners who run it. Some of you have benefited from it, of course, led by When Wales, but real example of how this can work in practice, that we've supported helped fund the programme. And of course, it's shown that training, support, encouragement, which we all need, and we still need it, actually, all of us who have positions, fortunate to have positions in the Senedd, we need that encouragement. It can really pay dividends, and we've got such success stories to show of that. And I've been a mentor, but I've learnt so much from the mentees who I've been able to engage with, but we can use that opportunity, those of us who have had responsibilities, to alert our mentees to the challenges, personal as well as political, which you will have many questions about. Just really important for us who have the privilege of power and influence, and I say that at every level of government, because there are be members and women in local government who are thinking about moving forward and becoming part of the Senedd as well, that you feel that actually you will be supported, that you will be able to use your great skills, your experience, your life experience when you get here and when you're part of us. So just a quick word from me about the fact that, as I said, we are still trying to get more women and more diversity into our public boards. We had a fantastic report 3 years ago, published just before the pandemic. Usha Ladwa-Thomas, who took the lead on this, and she did a report on public appointments and the lack of reflection of diversity in our public appointments. It was called Reflecting Wales in Running Wales. That's a great title, isn't it? That's what the Senedd should be like, reflecting Wales in running Wales and our governments at every level. So I'm going to be meeting with the chairs of our public bodies soon and give them a strong message that it's not good enough and we need you to be able to get in there. So the 18th of September, Welsh Government introduced the Senedd Cymru Members and Elections Bill. And before the end of the year, we're going to introduce a bill to implement gender quotas for Senedd elections, looking to make the Senedd a more effective legislature for and behalf of the people of Wales. And the Senedd Cymru Members Elections Bills and the legislation on gender equalities, I'm sure you'll have more discussions about this, will enable us to deliver on the recommendations of the Senedd Special Purposes Committee on Senedd Reform. And of course, this legislation will be able to us to look at ways in which we can ensure that practicality and legislative implications of things like job sharing, for example, for Senedd members can be considered. And we've got some really great experts, haven't we? All of you here are experts in your own way, but an expert panel on electoral reform, the Senedd Committee on Reform, showing, for example, that job sharing has the potential to make elected office more accessible to more people, lead to a more diverse range of candidates, including women. So thank you for all of those who are contributing. Sometimes it's tough because you feel you're banging on a wall. Well, it shouldn't be. That wall is breaking down. You are making the influence, you are making the change, but you have to speak up all the time. So we're taking ways in which we can actually get more information available. Data is very important in terms of understanding the diversity of Senedd candidates, similar to that which is available for local government candidates as well. Collaborating with our colleagues in the equality sector, and I'm sure you will be able to help us. We're going to publish guidance to support political parties, and that's really important to all political parties, that they've got to go about developing diversity and inclusion strategies. It has to be every political party. The leadership has to sign up to this, demonstrating what they're going to do. They're the gatekeepers, aren't they, of political representation. So we will help them, and then they've got to take the leadership, the responsibility to publish that guidance. So there's many other things that I will talk about, but I'm very conscious of time. Access to the elected fund, I think it has been important. It's helped several candidates in the most recent Senedd and local government elections. 6 of these candidates were successful and became community councillors, and I think there's some just beside me here today. But actually, we've got in the Elections and Elected Bodies Wales Bill, it has got provisions to provide support for people to seek to stand for election from both protected characteristics and socio-economic circumstances. Lack of money is a huge barrier. And also circumstances in terms of being perhaps in a lower paid job, being disadvantaged by the gender pay gap. You know, we've got to recognise all of that. And that gender pay gap is also we're addressing in terms of race, disability, as well as gender. Those pay gaps we have got to address in government. And also there's a duty on Welsh ministers particularly to maintain that fund for disabled candidates in the future and look to how we can extend this. So I'm just going to finish by saying that there's why are we all here and why have we got into politics, and what can we do? I mean, at the moment, as Minister for Social Justice, we're learning a lot about how we can bring together our Gender Equality Action Plan, our Anti-Racist Wales Action Plan, our Action on Disability, our Right to Living Independent Living Framework, the LGBTQ+ Action Plan. We're working to bring these all together to recognise those intersectional issues which we need to address and share common goals and solutions. But what brought me into politics was I helped set up the first women's aid group in Wales, and I look back to some of my old badges. This goes back to the 70s. I actually designed this. It's a picture of a row of terraced houses because our first women's aid refuge in Wales was a terraced house in Cardiff. And the message is, Mae angen llochasau a fenywod.
Women need shelter.
Women need refuges. Now that shows how old I am. It takes you back. But actually, why are we in this position where we still have the appalling scourge of domestic violence and violence against women and girls, which is in the street, in the workplace? So we've now extended our strategy across all of those areas of life for women and girls. I never set out to become a minister in my working life, but through setting up Women's Aid, campaigning for social justice, I was persuaded to stand to be a councillor, to pursue my causes within the system, to try and influence from within. And that's often mentees have said to me, should I stay, in my campaigning role? Should I come into this? Well, you've got to get in there to influence it. I was passionate about devolution, fighting for fair representation women in the Yes for Wales campaign for positive action in the Labour Party, and I wouldn't be here without our Labour twinning system. And so my story has unfolded, but we need to hear your stories and give you the support and strength to say, wouldn't it be great if there was a chamber like this in the years to come? Diolch yn fawr I chi gyd.
Thank you, Jane. Now it's my Great pleasure to introduce Sarah Pickard. And Councillor Sarah Pickard is a community councillor in Pentreath Community Council, first elected 13 years ago, so she knows her way around that now. And one of a very few vocal elected people asking for equality within all spheres of life, and I think is well known to all of us. Over to you, Sarah.